Here's the answer for day 2. In question A, we're asked to find the equation of a line that passes through these 2 points. To do this, we can use the point-slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. In this formula, the y1, the m, and the x1 are numbers that you substitute. The letter y and the letter x remain as variables. Now, to use this formula, we need to know a value for m, which means the slope. And we can find the slope when given 2 ordered pairs. We did that in yesterday's bell work. So the slope is equal to the change in the y-coordinates divided by the change in the x-coordinates. I'm using this little triangle symbol. It's a Greek letter delta. It means change. From 8 to 5 is a change of -3. From 2 to -1 is a change of -3. And this reduces to +1. So the value for m is 1. We're going to make that substitution right here. Now we also substitute y1 and x1. And what those variables represent are the x and y coordinates from the first ordered pair that's given to us. That's the 2 and the 8. This is the x1, this is the y1. So we have y minus, in place of y1, substitute 8. In place of m, fill in the 1 that we figured out. X minus, in place of x1, substitute 2. Now, we could leave the equation like this, but we can make this look nicer. So we have y minus 8 equals x minus 2. And then if we add 8 to both sides of the equation, we have y equals x plus 6. And this equation is in our more familiar form called slope-intercept form. Now, question B, we're asked to graph this linear equation. Well, pay attention to the form that it's in because that impacts the technique that you use to graph it. This is standard form. When you have an equation in standard form, a good method to use is called intercepts method. Figure out the x-intercept and figure out the y-intercept. These are the locations where the line crosses the x-axis and the y-axis. To get the x-intercept, you replace the letter y with a 0. So if you do that, you would have 3x equals 6. Therefore, x is equal to 2. The x-intercept is 2. On the x-axis, it crosses at 2. To get the y-intercept, you replace the letter x with 0. Then you'd have 2y equals 6. Divide both sides by 2 and you get y equals 3. So it crosses the y-axis at the 3. And then draw a line through those 2 dots. Now, this is not the only way to graph the equation. It's just when you have standard form, substituting a 0 in for y in order to figure out what x is, and substituting a 0 in for x in order to figure out what y is a really good way to graph. Now, question C, we're asked to graph this linear equation. Pay attention to the form. This is called slope-intercept form, where the coefficient of x is your slope, and the constant term is your y-intercept. We use the letter b for that in the formula. So when you have an equation in this form, the fastest technique is to first find the y-intercept. It's at +4, so on the y-axis, put a dot at 4. This is your y-axis, this is your x-axis. Then make use of the slope to get another dot. The slope is -1/3. That means that you move down 1 unit while running 3 units to the right. We can repeat that. Go down 1 unit while going 3 units to the right. When you have a negative number for the slope, you want to make sure your line is going downhill as you're moving to the right.